I did want to talk about Itch a bit because, you were the guys that introduced me to Itch.io.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we got when we got on Itch.io, it was the very beginning, when it first came out.
Yeah, it was like a year after he started, or a year or two.
Yeah, and it was really bare bones. Kimmy would ask him, be like, "Can we have this kind of feature?" And he'd be like, "Oh, I didn't think of that," and then you just add it.
Yeah, it'd be in the next day, and I'd be like,
and that's exactly the thing. It sounds like Itch.io from the beginning, and even now. They're still not the largest video game storefront out there.
Yeah, I think they've got 3 people on staff max.
But they definitely care about usability first.
Yeah.
And they listen to developers. And that is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was because at the time that I joined on, he had nobody important on there. It was just, just random people that happened.
Oh yeah, Paper Sorcerer was able to stay on the top front of the page for a long ass time.
I remember.
Yeah, I think it was a year or two. It stayed on the front page because the front page at that time was just anything he found on the service that he liked.
And it's kind of become.
It was pretty much just only things that he liked.
It's become a hub of. It's become an amazing place for people to host their games for all game jams and let 'em dares.
Yeah.
Even host game jams, but
yeah, because he put in all the features for it.
Yeah, so it's most of the games that I find on there that I think are really cool and unique. It's oh, this was a Let 'em Dare contestant. Well, no,
yeah.
I'm no surprise. So if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to jump right in then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is another episode of The Conversation. I'm sitting here with my friends Jesse and Kim of Ultra Runaway Games.
Yeah.
Are we still going by Ultra Runaway?
Yeah, I haven't changed it.
Okay.
I kind of feel like I should have thought through the name for the company more, because when I first played, I was like, that sounds cool. Okay, yeah, and that was the extent of the thought process.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of oh, what if people think that I called it Ultra Runaway because I think my games are going to be runaways. I didn't name it that at all. I was just thinking I run away from my problems, so I called it Ultra Runaway.
Was that one?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
When we were going into the logo designs, he just keeps drawing these random kind of cool looking phone doodles. And he's like, I want to do this for the logo. And I'm like, can we do something that's actually related to the name or the kind of games you're going to make at all? And I had this design where it was a guy, what do you call him? The
Bindle?
Yeah, with a guy with a bindle on a stick, and the bindle had keyboards and mice falling out of it. So it would represent game development, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was totally shot down.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and then I come up,
the logo that's on the card.
It's a gear.
Yeah, it's a gear with a Z on it. It looks totally Mega Man.
when I drew it, I was like, check it out, Kim. This thing looks like Kamen Rider. We'll use that as the logo. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a Kamen Rider Transformer belt.
I could always kind of picture swinging around with a bunch of little flares and stuff pring.
Yeah. Eventually,
Activator.
Someday we're gonna release a game and actually have the animated logo go before the game starts, and I'm gonna probably do some kind of spin animation on it.
See, that's the complete opposite of me when I was doing my logo, and I was first of all, I had to think of an idea that wasn't already taken, because it's always I'll do wooden sword games, and it's of course there's already a company called Wooden Sword.
Yeah,
that's just going to happen. But when I settled on Freebeard, I was that sounds like the sort of thing that someone would write on a hobo sign. So I just went for this whole cardboard marker aesthetic kind of thing. And, it didn't really pan out because I don't really do much game development anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we keep trying to elbow you a bit. Eventually
I am working on a game right now. I actually, I'm halfway through making a game that is horribly offensive.
Yeah.
And is really just meant for a couple of my friends. It's an in-joke. It's really rude. I'm not going to go too deep into it.
Okay.
To summarize, it's called Run Effer Run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, I can see how that could be horribly offensive.
Yeah. But it's like an inside joke. Anyway, it was an excuse to learn Godot.
Oh, okay.
So you had the idea, you wanted to make a game. And I'm curious, because you also jumped on, you jumped onto Itch.io really quickly, but before that, before you even, had the game, you had a Kickstarter campaign.
Oh yeah, we did a Kickstarter.
So basically, the simple sequence of events was Jesse going to school, Jesse doodles pictures in Notebook all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Starts twiddling around with Unity. He makes a small game where you play as like a capsule or a cube or something, and his mind is blown.
I was like, I can make video games!
Because he can like press a button and the guy jumps.
Yeah, I was like, Kimmy, check it out. I got the cube to jump from this plane to the other plane. I can do it!
So then he is completely caught up with the idea of making a game at this point, and that's where he decided, I'm going to make a game. And he makes this prototype where you're like an always running dog with
and it had like a gun on his back. It was like a delivery dog. So it was like a mouse, like you use the mouse to aim, and then it was like a
you always run forward.
Yeah, constant running kind of thing. So like you have to jump over stuff and aim with the mouse. But like I couldn't figure out how to get it to shoot where I was aiming. So like
well, you could get it to shoot where you were aiming, but you couldn't get the bullet to come out of the gun.
Oh yeah, it would just kind of fall.
But like it wouldn't come out of the gun directly. It would just kind of out of a random spot. Like you couldn't figure out how to get the bullet to align with the gun.
Mm-hmm. And also, I was moving the dog just by like applying physics force to the back of him, so like he could get like turned around, like he was like a rocket. Like if you got in the wrong direction, you would just go flying like into like the bottom of the stage.
So basically, Jesse doesn't into programming, and that game got dropped, even though he made this luscious.
Oh yeah, I made this like
animation.
lusciously painted sprite because of course I got it barely functional. Time to make art.
And it looked beautiful, and it's still somewhere on one of the computers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use it for something. But there's no convincing Jesse to come back to that game, even though he could probably do it now.
Yeah.
Because that idea was dropped, and it's never coming back. But
always move forward.
Yeah.
But then, like, he discovered the Orc kit, which is a Unity RPG kit. That's kind of like if you called RPG Maker PaintNet, Orc is like Photoshop.
Yeah.
It has a ton of features. It's very focused on one thing, which is not the thing most people use it for. And it's hard to figure out what feature, how to use it, or how to even get to it. Or once you get to it, how am I supposed to make it work the way it's supposed to work?
Like, the guy that makes it is really good about incorporating user feedback, but he's a little too good. So there's all these, like, weird features that no one would ever use. Or, like, there's, like, three... Like, in order to, like, turn something on, you have to, like, turn it on, like, 3 different places. Like, say if you want your guy to auto-attack, you have to, like... set the battle to have auto attack, and then turn the auto attack on the guy, and then go into the battle system and turn on auto attack, and then it might work.
So like it's a really useful, cool tool. It's just what's the word? Not esoteric.
Convoluted.
Convoluted, maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Convoluted, or it's like we're talking about the Orc development kit, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be like he took in people's feedback, but so much so that he had incorporated the different dev styles for all these different people, all these specific situations.
And it's kind of like this, like...
don't really apply to the general user.
Yeah. And also, it's only one guy that makes it, too. And it does so much stuff that, like... There's lots of, like, little cracks and things where you can find, like, he, like, totally didn't think about this thing at all. Oh, yeah. Like, especially when it comes to menus and stuff. It's the worst with menus. But overall, like, it's a really good kit. Like, I don't want to, like, be down on it. Like,
it's
I made
so
Paper
useful
Sorcerer
and
with it.
you can do a lot of things with it, but really, it was built to make Breath of Fire.
Mm-hmm. Breath of... Like, at first, I was like... I guess I can just make it's made just for Final Fantasy, but then I started playing Breath of Fire 3. I was like, this is kind of clunky in the exact same way Orc is. And it was like he made it so he can make Breath of Fire.
It's sort of like how the original RPG makers, like they're like all built to make Dragon Quest games.
Yeah. Do you want to make something that's not a Dragon Quest game? Yeah, well, it's fun.
Build it from scratch.
Yeah, pretty much. You have to like code your own stuff to just have like different menus.
Oh yeah. I remember
different
using
sprite
that.
angles. But yeah, like, it's a very specific tool, but Jesse designed his game before he learned exactly what Orc could do. And this is back in Orc 1.0.
Oh yeah, like he made
right
like a
now,
second version that was like way better.
Like 2.0 is completely incompatible with 1.0. It's completely like overhauled from the ground up.
Okay.
So that's the reason why we're never gonna remake Paper Sorcerer or like make any dramatic changes to it, is that Orc 2.0, we'd have to make the game completely over from scratch.
All right. So let's get back to the timeline. Like,
So he discovered.
Speaking of Paper Sorcerer,
he discovers Orc, and he starts designing a game that's an RPG on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing, like, conceptually, like, the battle system should work like this without even having tested whether it'd work in Orc yet. So, and also he starts drawing all of the art before, like, he's basically drawing enemies every day in his notebook, more than one enemy per day.
Like, originally...
Before he's even finished making the combat.
Yeah, like, originally, like, Paper Sorcerer was gonna be, like, someone's notebook doodle that was trying to, like, escape and go into the real world. So I had this thing where, like, everything was this, like, scratchy kind of ballpoint pen for the textures, and this, like, paper overlay that looked like it was, like, in someone's notebook. And it was cool, but I was having trouble kind of, like, conceptualizing how the whole thing is going to work, you know? Because there's a lot of times where I can come up with a cool idea, but actually making that into a complete and, like, finished idea that people can enjoy is, like, it's really hard, and I can't, like, get all the pieces in place, so I wound up going with something else.
Yeah. And at some point, he actually figured out, like, oh, I want to kind of take this influence from Mike Mignola. Because he finally discovered that rather than just taking, like, the sort of people, like, art school wants you to copy and learn from, that he can do that with any artist.
Yeah. Like, after a while, I, like, started discovering artists that I personally really liked, and I was like, oh, I want to make art like this. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he started actually doing art studies in that way, and he started, like, really finding his direction as far as his personal style goes, which made, like, a huge dramatic right turn in the development of the game, because he suddenly just basically, like, threw out a ton of stuff that he'd done. Because he'd mostly worked on art at this point.
Yeah.
Most of this wasn't even an engine yet.
I mean, to be fair, we're artists.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, like, I mean, that's what I find typically happens in art-headed devs, is that they do, like, a concept and art first, and then they make game around that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a very difficult way to work, because anytime you want to make a change, you have to throw out the majority of your work.
Right.
Which I'm trying to kind of twist to be mechanics first.
Yeah.
Because it's the part we like doing the least.
Right. And,
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, you can keep a sketchbook of all sorts of fun ideas, like refrigerators that are monsters and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that picture.
Oh yeah, like, Jesse has, like, at least 10 notebooks that are just game ideas at this point.
Oh, yeah, I have tons
not
of game
including
ideas.
art. Not including art, just ideas.
Yeah, and like then you like the mechanics. Mechanics can be the least fun thing to work on, but you can switch them up so fast.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like, as far as me, like, making a prototype that's mechanics only with no art, with just cubes and stuff, is, like, the fastest thing.
Also, that part's really fun, too. Like, I really like the prototype
Like, when
phase.
I say the part that we don't like, I'm talking about the smoothing it out and making it fun for the player.
Oh, that part sucks.
yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And that's why that's part of the reason I really enjoyed Let 'em Dare games and other Game Jam games, because it's like they only had enough time to just get it working. And then the rest of the time, like, you have the guy who's, like, trying to polish what they built already.
Yeah.
And then you have someone who's, like, furiously making art for the thing. And it's like, all right, here we go. Boom! There's a game. It's like some sort of messed up alchemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but getting back to the timeline. So, he was just working with Orc, and
I was just kind
at
of like...
that point, he was, like, thinking of making, like, a roguelike, right? Like
Not-
a city roguelike? Wasn't that first?
No, that was... Oh, yeah, that was before I got into Orc. I was originally wanting to make this, like, side-scrolling roguelike that was in, like, this, like, city. But it was, like, side-scrollings they're really hard to do.
Yes, they are.
There's a lot of them come out, so maybe people think they're not that hard to do, but, like, getting something to feel really good is, like, one of the hardest things to do with making a game.
Yep.
And the more real time it is, the harder that is, because you need to get the feedback loop much tighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, he was working on that concept, and he did a bunch of art for that. And then he, like, kind of started working on, like, the notebook idea, and he got kind of, like, halfway-ish through making Paper Sorcerer on that idea before he kind of pivoted to the final concept of the Sorcerer and summons. When he started getting into, like, Mignola and, those, what century illustrators?
Oh, like 18th century illustrators.
Yeah, like these pen and ink guys that, he actually just walked up to Becker and went, hey, for pen and ink, what should I look at?
Yeah, I asked Professor Becker about it. He was psyched, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The rule with, like...
Because Because we knew Becker liked that sort of thing.
Yeah, when I was going through, I was at my parents, for the people, I already talked about this to you, but I was just at my parents' house earlier today. I was going through old sketchbooks, and out of one of them fell this sheet of notes from this time I asked Professor Becker about Art Deco.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's go to my office, Jonathan, here we go.
Yeah.
And he just like, they weren't even notes that I took. He grabbed a piece of paper and he just started scribbling out all these different rules about how Art Deco works.
Yeah.
And it's just like here are all the rules about your basic Art Deco, and here are a bunch of books and authors. Check these out. These are your best sources. It's like, oh, when you get him on the topic of an art style, especially one that he's kind of passionate about, which in your case was ink drawings, and in my case was deco, like, he can just go. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he gave him a bunch of, like, artists to look at, and Jesse liked a good, like, half of them. Mm-hmm. And he still really, really likes, like, 2 of the artists.
I have a bunch of their art books.
Like, he actually has several books now.
But yeah, like, I had started playing around with Orc, and, like, I was like, I'm able to make some really good progress with this, and I really like RPGs. So then my idea was just to make something like Wizardry, which was like the most basic thing I could think of. So yeah, I pretty much tried to make like a Wizardry-esque kind of thing, and that was what eventually became Paper Sorcerer.
Yeah, and when we did the Kickstarter,
oh yeah,
we planned to be done 3 months. And this...
yeah. Yeah, I was like, well, like, you know, I got like a battle working, like 3 months probably to finish it. Yeah, it probably wouldn't take much longer than that.
Yeah, and at this point, I was actually very, very hands-off. Because I was also going to school, and I was basically saying, like, hey, Jesse, if you don't make X amount of money with this Kickstarter, you're going to get a job, and this is going to take a lot longer, okay? Because I am not gonna foot the bill for everything until you finish this game. Yeah. Which was very highly becoming the case at that point.
And also at the time, there was like this like teaching position I was applying for like a summer teaching thing, and it was pretty much either do the summer teaching thing or make Paper Sorcerer.
He would have been able to do stuff on paper, but he wouldn't have been able to like bring a computer along because I don't think we had a laptop at that point. Yeah. So he wouldn't have been able to actively do anything in Unity for the whole 3 months. Okay. And he was like, I think he was like pretty close to getting the job. It was just a matter of like him showing up at that point, and I was like, so if you don't make enough on the Kickstarter, you're gonna take this job, okay? Yeah. That was pretty much. Like, it was almost an ultimatum, but not really, because, like, we worked together.
That sounds like an ultimatum.
Yeah. like, the thing is, I was actually flexible. Like the bar for how much money it had to make was very, very low. Like, I think we set the original goal for 5,000, 10,000?
Something like that, yeah.
Which is not how much we need to live.
Yeah. Well, for the 3 months, like... we would have been fine, but
it took way longer than 3 months. Yeah. If I actually include all of the time from the point where it was a notebook drawing game, it was probably 2 years. Technically, for Paper Sorcerer only stuff, but it would be 1 year. But all that stuff from like when it was in a notebook drawing, was stuff where he was learning what he needed to learn in order to make Paper Sorcerer, so I personally count it.
Okay, yeah.
But, like, it was, like, a lot of, like, how does Orc work? How does Unity work? Yeah. How do I even make game?
Yeah. How does this thing work? Axes? What?
But, as far as, like, really at that point, like, I just wanted to know, like, can he make money at all? Is there anybody that even wants this? And so, like, my bar for, like, okay, you can work on this without getting a job was pretty low.
Also, at the time, too, when I started looking into Kickstarter, like, this was when Kickstarter was, like, this was shortly after the Double Fine thing had happened. So it was really in, like, it's, like, big kind of, like,
initial... it was in a bubble stage, basically.
You were able to catch a bunch of that wave where it's, like, a bunch of people came out with these Kickstarters, and you're one of the few ones that actually delivered a product. And not only delivered a product, you delivered a fun product.
Oh, thank you.
like that is very rare.
Yeah, like it's funny, like when you make a game, like...
I have a bunch of Kickstarters that I've backed, and they're still in active development, but I don't have a finished game. Yeah. Or by the time the game came out, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think, Darkest Dungeon was relatively close to the same frame, or later than us.
Yeah, they came out like a year after us.
Yeah, but we delivered before them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was far after the date we had promised. So
that's true. But then
the backers were really understanding, though.
Yeah, the backers were all really
there's
cool
the
about
important part right there, and the thing that I think is really cool and unique about your guys' setup. I mean, the two of you, you're a 2-person game team.
Yeah.
And in the case of Paper Sorcerer, from my understanding anyway, a lot of the dev side was Jesse.
Yeah.
And you were the face of the company.
Oh yeah, like
I did all of the correspondence and PR and stuff, but I used Jesse's name to do it.
You did the correspondence, the PR, and you put together the storefront. Like
basically anything that isn't in Unity, I probably did.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because like. If it had just been him by himself doing all that, he'd probably still be working on the game right now.
Oh yeah.
Either that or nobody would know about it. I just kind of hit release and be like, yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, like as far as the Kickstarter, that was when I actually came onto the project. Was during the Kickstarter. Is that I actually put together the Kickstarter stuff. I edited the video. Jesse came up with a basic script for his video, but I was the one who did all the videoing and the editing, and I actually culled down the script to be within a reasonable length, and I edited the video, and I uploaded the video, I put together all the text for the campaign, I did all the correspondence on the campaign, so, like, I was basically the Kickstarter, and at the time I was thinking, this is all I'll do. I'll just do the Kickstarter, and Jesse will make the game, and then we'll see where it goes. But looking back now, that was when I actually basically became like half the company, because
at least it's just half though, because there's 2 of you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like there's no like easy divisions. For the work, because I don't really...
guys, you do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And also, in Paper Sorcerer, she did help me with the artwork at the end, too, a lot.
Oh, yeah. When we got into, like, crunch, basically. Like, there was a crunch right at the end where we were like, we need to... for ourselves. It wasn't for anybody else, technically. Like, the reason we defined a date was for us. Like, Jesse was starting to get sick. Of working on this thing already, and he kind of needed to like take a break already, so we just wanted to get to a release. So we went into a crunch mode, and
we had implemented like a female version of the sorcerer, and then I was like, we gotta release the game, but I don't know how to draw women. so Kimmy did all the portrait stuff.
So basically, all the female characters in the game I did. Yeah. I did the sorcerer, the female sorcerer, and the hands for such, and I did. Basically the stretch goal characters, I think. Like he did the giant, but all the female stretch goals, I think it was
the dryad and the succubus.
Yeah, I did the dryad and the succubus, and I did like way more concept art for mine than you did.
Oh yeah, I would just kind of draw a thing big. This looks good.
And then I also did the spirit of the book and her mouse version. Really, technically, the mouse was not a woman, so Jesse probably could have done it, but I ended up doing it because I wanted to. And I had to do, like a lot of different versions of her before Jesse actually was like, yeah, that's the sort of thing I want. Because, like, for the longest time, he was like, I'd draw a thing, and he'd be like, no, that's nothing like what I was talking about. Even though I, like, stuck to the letter. So I just kind of kept...
Just because it's something that he said doesn't mean it's the way that he wanted it to look.
That's true, and I don't hold anything against it. Like, that's just how, like, communicating art to somebody else when you're not drawing it yourself is. But, yeah, like, it took, like, I think at least 6 iterations before we got anything remotely close to what you wanted.
Yeah.
But once we got it, you liked it, so... I liked it, too, so... And I really like doing all of the jewelry.
So, okay. If you want to talk about this, what are you working on now?
Oh, the new game?
An RPG.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say more than that. I don't want to really...
That's great.
Yeah. Like, I don't really want to say more than that at this point, because it's going to change a lot, probably.
Right. And that's the thing, is like, even if you did say anything, there is a full expectation, because the way a lot of brainstorming and game development works, especially when you're not tied down to like a publisher or something like that.
Yeah.
You can start working on a game and you can work on it for a couple months by yourself, and then like just suddenly be like, you know what, this isn't really going anywhere, and then you could switch over to something else.
That's basically what's happened the whole time since Paper Sorcerer released on Steam.
Yeah, like I tried
after,
a lot of different things, and like not everything really wound up panning out and stuff. So.
Like after the Kickstarter, it was like a year or a year and a half after that, working on actually releasing Paper Sorcerer, and we released it at the end of a year. And that our initial storefront was Fast Spring, which is not designed for games.
There you guys have it right there. Don't use it.
You can technically use it to deliver digital files, but if you update those files, they give you no way to tell people that the game is updated or to send them a link. Because the thing on FastSpring is that each customer has a custom link for their file.
Okay, so...
And I cannot resend that link.
Okay, so that would be like a good way to send, like, let's say you have some legal document you need to send to a bunch of people. Then it's something that someone can get a copy of.
The thing is, FastSpring is designed for, like, online shopping cart. It's an online shopping cart.
Okay. Basically.
So they intend for you to sell a thing once, and then send it out.
Okay.
And they're kind of focused more towards physical goods. Like, on FastSpring, for example... We put our game on there, and technically any customer that bought it on FastSpring could buy a CD. And FastSpring would burn that, like, genericest looking CD ever and send it to them for, like, $15 or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool at the time.
Yeah.
Because that means I don't have to look into physical.
Right.
Like, a person could opt to get a physical copy if they wanted. It's just going to burn the file that they would have downloaded.
Right. But some people.
Yeah, but really, the kind of person that like feelies that have art on them.
Oh, is the cat doing weird stuff back there?
It's alright.
Okay. That's his napping spot. Well, his napping spot and his yelling at the world spot. Because that's where he goes and it's just like, "Meow!" I'm like, shut up!
He does it every time he walks back there, by the way.
Yeah.
He's old. But putting that aside.
He's old, kind of crazy.
But yeah, like, FastSpring is just not designed for games.
Right.
And I kept, like, having to, message their, like, customer support, like, how do I do this thing? How do I do that thing? And they were just basically like, yeah, make a mailing list. Like, to send emails to customers, I just had to, like, take the email they put in when they bought it and put them on a mailing list. Oof. And send out a mailing list, like, iteration every time I updated.
Right.
Which meant, you know, I had to, like, make a template, and I had to figure out how mailing lists work, which, big deal, you don't do a mailing list with Gmail. You don't just put a bunch of people in the CC or BCC field and send out a mailing list. That's not how mailing lists work, and it's a good way to get flagged as spam. Things I learned in 1 week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, so our initial thing was on FastSpring. I wish I knew about Itch at that point. Because Itch did exist at that point.
But for the record, no one knew about Itch at that point.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how I stumbled upon Itch.
Yeah, I remember you just kind of found it, and I was like, Itch? What?
I think I just, like, found some game. Like, I read about a game somewhere, and they had it on Itch, and then I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then I tried it, and I was like, oh my god, what you see is what you get, I love it!
Yeah, then he was like telling me all the cool things, like, we can use this for our storefront, and I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, and a ton of Itch's, like a ton of Itch features were just, like, basically I asked for it. Like, analytics, like, how many people have downloaded the game? How many people have bought the game? Those charts on your dashboard, I asked for them. I was like, I can't tell. Can you show me? Up till that point, I was just, like, downloading an Excel file that has the data of all your purchases. That was me. I asked for that feature. Steam keys. That was us, because we got on Steam. And I was like, hey, so we're on Steam, and everybody wants Steam keys. Is there a way to vend Steam keys? That was me, and
it was funny too at this point, because, like, you'd be like, well, I emailed him, but he's sleeping now because it's a different time zone, so he'll get back to me. Like, that's how small Itch.io was.
Yeah,
like the guy who makes it.
Like, it just so happens that I'm, like, an unstoppable night owl. No matter what I do, I'm a night owl.
Well-
So I'm like awake at like 2 a.m, and I'll send Leaf an email about Itch, and he'll be awake at that time because he's in a completely different time zone in Europe or something.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be awake at that time, so I'll get a response right away. But if I send it during the daytime, he's asleep. So it just so happened, me pulling a bunch of all-nighters because we had to do a bunch of like patches on Paper Sorcerer happened to just line up with Leaf. But there were like a couple of like really like scary moments where like the server would go down while he was asleep. And
then nobody could get anything from it.
Oh god.
Yeah.
And the files were inaccessible, and the website was completely down.
Because he was sleeping and it went down.
And I'd get a bunch of emails from customers going, "What's going on here?" And I'd be panicking. I'd be like, "Oh no!
Leave, wake up!"
There's a huge bug in the game, and I can't fix it, and the servers are down." Couple scary days there.
Yeah.
And for a good like week, 2-3 weeks, right after that winter release, we were doing bug patches every day.
Yeah, like we were releasing like it was like when I released it, like there were way more bugs than I thought there was in it. So
the moment you release something to the unwashed masses,
then I was like, oh god, it doesn't work. Everyone's gonna hate me.
The thing was, when we released it, like looking back now, it was really a soft release because compared to Steam, this was nothing.
Yeah,
that gold standard, sealed by Valve.
Well, it's not even a seal. It's just the number of users is like another digit.
Because we had tested it with some of our backers,
like we tested it with backers,
and all the like the bugs they had like brought up, like I had fixed.
We fixed
but
those.
Then we had like way more orders of magnitude people playing, so they found way more bugs and like.
And then Steam was another order of magnitude on that, and Steam So what's funny is I submitted.
I think the cat.
You can go.
Okay. The cat is just old and stinky.
Okay.
Jesse's gonna tend to the kitty lair. Okay, so after we released on Steam, you get a much larger footprint in the, like, world awareness of your game at all. Like, a lot more people know it exists.
Right.
And,
also, we got greenlit in, like, a fairly early wave of Steam Greenlight, too. Like,
yeah, this was before Greenlight was, like, this was just around the time when, like, Greenlight started to just, like, greenlight the top 100 any given month.
Yeah.
On a certain time basis.
Right.
So we were shocked. Because I think we greenlit between 2 weeks and a month.
Well, one of the things that you guys had going for you, too, was...
the game was already out.
Yeah, by the time you were on Steam, by the time you tried getting on Steam, you already had a game.
Oh, yeah. Like, because I was like, I'm never going to make it.
At that point, you already, like, Rock, Paper, Shotgun had played your game and stuff, right?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, like...
Like, I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to make a game that's good enough for Steam. I probably won't make it on. We'll try, but we'll count on not making it.
Yeah, like, we pretty much just completely, like, reined in any expectation. Like, the same was true for sales, too. Like... when we were initially doing the green light, we hadn't gotten into the black yet. Cause, like people say things like, oh, you have to finish your game because you kickstarted it. But the simple fact was 10,000 was gone in 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
That's just how rent in Washington works. Especially in the Seattle area. Like, even if you don't even count living expenses, just rent alone, that money was gone way before we finished the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there are people that are like, but you overfunded. But it's like, you know, rent is
I estimated time badly.
And also, the scope of the game was dramatically different then.
Well, also, whenever people say that, and this is part of the what's the word, linchpin of Kickstarter, you don't need to. This is why a lot of people don't trust Kickstarters for games anymore.
Yeah.
And for things in general, you don't need to finish the game. You just have to. You have to prove that you tried to the best of your ability to deliver the product that you promised.
Yeah. And
a lot of people have taken advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of really sad stories about, like, the person who was in charge of the campaign or in charge of the company embezzled all the money.
Oh yeah, I've heard stuff like that before.
I saw.
Or,
those are sad stories though. Like,
or there will be situations where it's like we completely overscoped this project.
We thought we'd be able to make the ultimate vampire MMO in 1 year, but we couldn't.
No,
like
that's at least a 2-year project.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
I would say 5 years. Unless you have a huge staff, I'd say 5 years for an MMO. But
First you have to figure out what a vampire is.
Yeah. What does a vampire mean to you?
Putting aside artistic liberties, but the simple fact is that we use our own money to make Paper Sorcerer.
Yeah.
And like, so we were not in the black for a while because we didn't have that kind of like awareness. Did we have the demo?
Yeah, we had a free demo.
Yeah, we had a free demo out, and the free demo got updated as we worked on the game, which I suppose really helped with that whole trust thing on Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is really just selling trust. So they already had a demo that proved that we had worked on it, and the demo changed as we worked on it more. And I sent that demo out on like a regular basis when we updated it. And I think even our backers too, like we sent the backers more than just the demo, of course, as we updated it. But that aside, like when it started going up on pirating sites, I just kind of posted on there. I wrote out this nice sob story that I then like slightly customized to each site.
Right.
And it basically went along the lines of, I'm a solo developer. This is a passion project. I'm not in the black yet. It only cost $5. Seriously,
yeah,
you have
really
that
cheap.
in your couch. And there's a free demo that is plenty long enough. You can play it for an hour average.
Yeah, the demo's like an hour long.
Like, for most players, it takes them an hour to get through it. And it's the first,
chunk of the game. Like, the first...
Like, it's like 1/10 of the game, basically.
It is a legit comfy demo.
Yeah. And
you're going to know if you like the game or not by the time you're done
Yeah,
playing.
pretty much, yeah.
Like, most people know within 10 minutes
yeah.
whether they like the game or not. But even putting that aside, the save transfers, too.
Yeah.
So, if they... Because it's saved in the same place.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact file. And they don't even have to click anything to transfer it. It just works.
Yeah.
And so, if they play the demo, they can play the browser demo, so they don't even have to download anything, or they could play the downloadable demo, they can play the Linux demo.
Right.
It's free.
Well,
And like, so I understand that there's a certain percentage of pirators that just pirate a game to play a demo that they then decide whether they want to buy it.
That some people are going to pirate no matter what.
Yeah. But the thing is that I just I post this nice sob story, and I go, please, like, I understand if you pirate it, whatever, but if you like the game, please buy it. Here's the address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it worked pretty good.
And I actually, like, I was mildly surprised, but like a couple days later, there were actually a couple comments responding to the sob story.
Going, thanks for just coming here and talking to us. Yeah, that means a lot. I was like, cool. I'm glad people like that. Yeah.
Like, just because you put this here and you have a free demo, I bought the game. I didn't even try it first, sort of thing. And I was like, oh man, that's sweet, man.
Feels good, man.
So, sometimes the internet isn't sucky.
Yeah.
Well, of course, there's still a ton of people that probably pirated it.
Yeah,
like, if I looked it up right now.
Piracy happens.
It's just a thing it's just a fact of...
No matter what you make, it doesn't matter what you make, it doesn't matter what you make.
The only thing that's not going to get pirated is the thing that's a hard copy and there's only one of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, after that, like, I made that branding and marketing angle specifically on the idea that I was not going to do anything but the Kickstarter. And then after that, it evolved into, I'm not going to participate in making the game. I'm only going to do the online talky stuff. And anything that isn't making the game, I'll do that part. So I wasn't lying.
Yeah, like, she didn't start helping, like, a lot until,
and the thing was, at that
towards
point,
the end.
Like, for the longest time, every post I made online in Jesse's name, I would call Jesse over and have him read over it.
Well, yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, looks good, yeah.
And have him, like, say whatever he wanted me to change. Like, oh, I don't like that word, let's use this word instead. Right. So, like, basically, I was just...
That's no different than what would happen in any other company. Half the things that are, I guarantee you most of the things that, like, Tim Cook would post on Apple's front page, he might have had some hand in writing, but it was probably not just him, unless it was like something very, very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I think there's a couple of random tweets that are just straight out of Jesse's head, where he just had like an idea, and he posted on Twitter.
I'm gonna have nachos later.
Yeah.
Oh no, more along the lines of like some post about Bayou Billy's cover or something.
Right.
Oh yeah. I remember posting something about Bayou Billy.
Yeah, I remember there's something about
I'm glad
it.
somebody remembers Bayou Billy.
Oh wait, the Twitter post was about the music. Something about it being the funkiest, I think.
Because Bayou Billy has the funkiest music. Konami put a special sound chip in there just so it could have extra funky music.
But yeah, so then it launched. We did a lot of hectic pulling the hair out of our head, overnight patches. And the thing was that at that point, so we released it on 3 OSs and 5 storefronts at least. So every time we updated the game,
we had to update it in all those different storefronts
with
for
all
the
different
OSs.
files. So just doing a build took
half the day.
a new version, even ignoring the labor involved in fixing it, it took half a day to update the game. Because we had to do each build, and each build took half an hour, an hour.
And then there was the backer versions of each build, because the backers had exclusive stuff not in the regular game.
So we had to do 6 builds, and I had to write the newsletter.
Yeah. That
goes along, because the only way to get it to the Fast Spring people was to send them a newsletter. So I had to write a newsletter post, and then I wrote a Kickstarter update post, and then I wrote the release notes, and I updated the release notes on the blog, and then I had to make the release notes text file.
And with the release notes, she had to bug me for every little thing I fixed too, because I'd only write down half of them. Oh yeah, I did that too. So what did I fix? I made it so you could finish this puzzle. And...
I made it so that there's a door here. I made it so that there's not a door there.
Well, I was having problems with the door in this level, so I took all the doors out.
Funny fixes.
Yeah.
Door animations, yeah. And then I had to zip all of these files individually. So we'd have a build. I'd have to make the release notes file that I then put in a README with the build, and then I zipped that. So then the zip would take 15 minutes or an hour each, I don't know, a long time. And then I had to upload all of these zipped files to every storefront.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Desura was the worst. Because there are so many different things you have to click, and you can't click anything else on the Desura website while it's uploading.
Oh, okay, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And in this way, this is where I came to fall in love with Itch.io. Because on Itch.io, if you want to remove a file, you press the X button by the name of the file.
Yeah.
If you want to upload a file, you select the file, now it's uploading. You can upload more than one file at the same time. Desura!
Yeah.
You don't have to tell it each and every platform that you're uploading for. I mean, you can tag them later so that people who are searching for Windows games can find them.
Right.
This wasn't a feature at the time, but it's as easy as clicking an icon.
So the takeaway from this is that Itch.io is much better than Desura. Last time we hung out, you were, or a few times ago, I should say, you were both working on game jam games and stuff like that. Are you still interested in game jams, or?
I like them as a tool to develop prototypes.
Yeah, they can be good for that. Personally, I'm way too easily distracted by new shiny ideas, where it just seems like it's just playing with fire. So, I probably
Jesse. The thing is that ever since Paper Sorcerer's Steam release, Jesse has been constantly working on a game. At any given point, he is working on a game.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing was that he'd work on a game for several months, and he'd hit some kind of roadblock, typically programming, Or
yeah, like it was like I was trying to make this like kind of like first person roguelike action kind of thing, but I'm just not good enough with programming and scripting to be able to do like good, feels good kind of like first person action.
and like so basically like every 3 to 6 months, the project was changing, and I think it's important to be flexible about what project you're working on, because sometimes the project is not going to work.
And I'm aware. I definitely agree with that.
But at a certain point, you're making an excuse not to finish things. Like, if you change projects a certain amount of times, you're not going to finish anything.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, you need to... And we've talked about... Kim, you and I, we've talked about this a bit. The problem of scope.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just want to make something that's bigger than what you might be capable of making at that point. And it's okay to go a little bit beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stretches you out.
As long as you're willing to take the time to learn what that thing is. Like, and whether it's... I don't know, it's hard to say, because it could be pretty much anything.
Yeah. Like, if you wanted to do normal maps on spray art, for example.
Yeah.
Like, you have to learn how to make the normal maps, and then you have to figure out how to do the lighting such that the normal maps are utilized.
Yeah.
And this is a very scopy feature to put on any pixel art game.
Yeah.
Given that the game has any game besides that.
Right, yeah. And like...
Because it multiplies the number of things you have to draw.
It does, because the moment you start doing normal maps for pixel art, you've now made it so every time you do pixel art, any sprite you have in your game now needs to have a normal map.
Yep.
Well, and that basically means you have to redraw it 4 times in different lighting.
I was trying to figure out a good way to segue to this, but I'm curious about your opinions on, like, what would you say the expectation? This is like purely opinion based.
Okay.
Expectations from a player on free games versus paid games, like.
Okay, so first I'm going to say what I expect personally.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking for.
And then I'll say, like, what I think, as a general rule, those audience expect. But first, me. If I look at a free game, all I'm looking for is for it to be interesting. If I'm looking at a free game, I want it to either be fun and polished, or to present an idea that I haven't seen in a game before.
Okay. By fun and polished, I'm assuming you mean like they're delving into an existing mechanic that you already understand. Like, let's say someone's making a game that's essentially like a Mario clone.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, this has been done before, but you're doing your spin on it. It's great. Does it feel good to play? Okay.
Yeah. Like, if it's like a very, like, if it's a standardized thing that people know how to do, I want to see you do it well.
Okay.
I want to see something that's fun to play, because I know how it should feel already. Like, if somebody makes a Zelda-alike, which there's quite a few on itch.io, if I look at it as Zelda-alike on itch.io, I want it to be good. I want it to be, like, actually fun to play, because if I wanted to play a Zelda game, I would go and pick up one of the Zelda games I haven't played yet, or finished, depending.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted to just play one, and that's all I wanted. But if I'm going to play yours, it either needs to be somewhat different in a way that I find interesting, or it needs to play really good.
Okay.
It needs to be fun.
But how about you?
But
oh yeah, with a free game, like if it's just like free indie games, the main thing is just like and like it can be like a small, contained but entertaining idea. Like, it doesn't have to be long, but the little bit that's there like should be interesting and keep my attention for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, like
like I don't really ask for more than 5 minutes of a free game, you know? Like
I agree. Like, for things that are less established, for a jam game, for example, I just want you to explore an idea that's either interesting, different, weird, or fun on its own. And
then after I'm done playing it, if I'm just like, oh, that was cool, I wish I had more, then like that's the sign of a really good game, and I'd like if they expanded on it, I'd probably buy it. Like that, like the Yes or No King game. Like, we played that forever because we really wanted to see if new things came up. Yeah, Sort the Court.
Yeah, like...
So I'm also kind of curious about your guys' opinions on AAA versus indie.
Yeah.
And the thing I want to preface this with is that you guys are unique in that you're doing a thing that everyone should probably try doing at some point, where you essentially live a generation behind in video games.
Oh yeah, like it's because I went to school at DigiPen. So when I was going to school at DigiPen, I didn't get to play any video games at all. So then when I stopped going to school at DigiPen, I was like the unfrozen caveman gamer who had to get caught up on all this stuff.
So you have a massive collection of Xbox 360 games and all these other titles that. Had you bought them when they came out, you'd be paying that $60 premium. But you're getting that deep pocket caveman discount.
Yeah,
which I think is totally rad.
But yeah, when it comes to AAA games, like I really don't play that many of them. Like I kind of got out of the loop at some point, and now like as I've gotten older, weirdly enough, I'm just kind of less into just straight up action games. Like when I got my PS3, that was when I really felt like unfrozen caveman gamer because like. I hadn't played any of the PS3 exclusives, and like I hadn't really played my 360 in a while, really that much either. Mm-hmm. I'd mainly just been playing RPGs and stuff. So like I like got all these like PlayStation 3 games like Infamous and stuff like that for really cheap, and I'm like, why does everything have cover shooting in it? I have a superhero game, I have to cover shoot people? Damn! So I play this other game and be like, this has cover shooting in it too. Damn! But yeah, like just kind of. And now all the AAA games come out in like the new system, so I haven't played any of like the PS3 stuff or PS4 stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, like right now we're on the 360, PS3, Wii generation.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And me personally, my whole life I've been a generation behind, basically. Like there've been exceptions, but I personally was never the one that bought consoles in my household or games, really. Mm-hmm. Like, the first time I bought a game because I wanted it, and its own console was the Game Boy Advance for Pokemon Crystal.
Nice.
And, like, I didn't buy most of the games for that console, even then, for our household. Like, a lot of the time, like, I'm the second child in my family. I have an older brother. And he played video games. And very much a driving mentality of my childhood was, you're doing it? Me too. Hey, what are you doing? That looks cool. Let me do it. Hey. And he played video games that were typically one player.
Of course.
So he'd be like, not now, I'm playing it. And then once he got tired, I got to play it. Or... on the flip side, I would pester him long enough that he'd be fine. You play it now.
So you were
and then I would take over.
You were typically a hand-me-down gamer, though.
Yeah, so basically I was a hand-me-down gamer. Like the first game, like for the longest time, I didn't game that much, and I was really bad at it. Like, which one? It's on SNES, the Mario game, Super Mario?
Super Mario World?
Yeah, Super Mario World. Super Mario World. For the longest time, I could not do the first ghost house.
Too spoopy.
I would seriously get scared and drop the controller.
Oh, no.
And also, Ocarina of Time. When you get to the lake, there's some keys. Mm-hmm. I would get scared and drop the controller, literally. I'd be like, oh no, it's so close! I'd get out my, slingshot, and I'd try and aim at it, and I'd get so scared I'd miss a couple times, and then I'd literally drop the controller.
Yeah.
So I never got past that point.
After a certain point, Kim got into me playing Dark Souls because like the environments are all really cool and
this was recently,
cool source. Yeah, this is recently. And even in that, like something will pop out of the ground and try to kill me. She'd be like, ah, calm down, you're not helping.
This is Dark Souls. I'm about to die.
Yeah.
I'll be watching him play Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And I'll backseat game a little bit, and I'll be like, use the potion.
I'll be like, I can't use the potion until he attacks. That's just how it works.
or I'll say you should do this area next, so you can grind for this loot that will definitely help you in this area that you're working on right now. And he'll be like, no, I don't want to grind.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm in this area. I don't want to traipse all the way back over there just so I can do that, even though I know it'll help.
Well.
But But yeah, a lot of AAA games, like, when I do play them, they just kind of feel, like, kind of bland. Like, they kind of do everything pretty good, but it's just kind of like, they're just missing something. It's like this, like, gray mush that everything slowly got kind of congealed into.
Like, I mean...
Like Far Cry 3. I played Far Cry 3 because I was like, yeah, you know, it seems open world and stuff. It's like they took an RPG and, like, tore out all the RPG stuff. And I just can't get into it.
I don't know, you played it for a long time.
I played it for a decent long time.
For the record, there's a lot of games that people will play for a long period of time, then they'll just be like, you know what, I figured out what I don't like about this game, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that happened with 13. For the
Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, when you said 13, I thought you were talking about
the first-person
shooter on GameCube.
No. Final Fantasy 13, for the longest time, Jesse said, it took a long time before he played it, like years after it came out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And for the longest time, he was like, I don't care what people say, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
And
I like to try to make up my own mind with stuff.
Like,
so. That's fair.
Yeah.
Like, I had decided I wasn't going to play it. Because I don't play enough games to play games that I don't think I'll like. But...
I really liked it. I liked all the other Final Fantasy games. How bad can it be?
So he played it. And so he finally got around to playing it, and...
Like, it just made me angry. Like, it made me just, physically angry. Like, I was pissed.
Like, every time he got up after playing it, he was angry.
Yeah, I'd be grumpy for, like, half the day.
And I kept telling him, like, you should just stop. It's not worth it. But he kept playing until... How far did you get?
I got pretty far. Like, I got, to the last,
you got to the part where it
game.
opened up.
Yeah.
You got to the part where it opened up, and at that point, they started, like... putting a bunch of really hard enemies in front of you.
You got through 2/3 of the game. That's when they stopped giving you tutorials and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't because they didn't give him tutorials that he stopped. It was because they started putting these super hard enemies in your path, and
up until that point, it's just been hallways the whole way. And I have for the beginning of the game, I was just kind of like jumping up and down the couch, like auto battle, yeah. Oh, story thing. Oh, it's pissing me off.
And he actually kind of liked the auto battle mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, he liked the battle mechanic.
Like, I made it as far as I did because I really like the battle mechanic. It's just like the characters and the story just really wore me down.
Which is funny because that's kind of like, and if we're gonna bash on Final Fantasy for a second, whenever they show footage about the new Final Fantasy that's coming out, they don't really focus much on the game. Yeah. They focus on, like, how cool do these guys look? Look at all these guys, they're in this car. And, how awesome is this story going to be? And it's like, you know, what about the game? Yeah, like, the new Final Fantasy, like, hurt my butt. Because, like, I like, I play Final Fantasy because I want a specific kind of experience. Like, I like, you control a group of guys, and it has either the ATB system or something like that. And, like, turn-based. Or turn-based. And I really like that gameplay. And the fact that they made it into, like, more action-y, like, I'm just kind of like, this isn't what I want. If I wanted that, I'd play any other game released this year. So, yeah, it hurt my butt. So, not really very excited about. But, yeah, like, 13 was really funny because, You got a certain part into it, and then it opens up, and you're like, finally I get to do the progression for my characters any way I want. But then they start putting these super hard enemies. Like, it puts you in, like, this big kind of open, like, it's hallways through the whole game. Then they put you in this big open area. And, like, you can kind of, like, do side questy kind of stuff. There's really hard monsters you can't beat. But by that point, I just wanted to, like, finish the game because it was really pissing me off. And I couldn't because I had to grind on side stuff in order to be able to move forward. So that's why I just looked up the ending on YouTube. And the ending was really stupid. Yeah, it's like... for the longest time, the little kid was the most annoying character. Yeah, the little kid. Like, did you play Final Fantasy 13? No, I stopped playing them after 10. Oh, okay. So that's good. Yeah. I got halfway through 10 and I stopped. I'm like, this isn't the series that I fell in love with as a kid. I kind of started feeling that towards, like, the end of 12. I was like, this isn't the same. Well, at the same time, 12 was directed by the Tactics guy. So if you go into it expecting the Tactics guy sort of feel, pretty much does that, yeah. But yeah, so it has this really annoying, whiny little kid, Hope. And like a whole lot of the first half of the game is him wanting to talk to this other guy because he feels that guy is responsible for his mother's death. Yeah. And he just wants to talk to this guy and say, I'm mad at you. And, like, they keep on delaying it. Like, it's this big thing. And, like, even, like, there's one girl's like, go on, talk to him now. And he's like, But finally he does. Mm-hmm. So, like, then that character stops being
quite so annoying. He's still kind of annoying.
He gets a bit of character development, it's not as bad. But then this other character steps up and becomes the most annoying character in the whole game.
I see a character void. Here I go.
Yeah, then Snow with his, like, heroes don't need to make plans, you just wing it, like, and everything just kind of works for him.
Yeah, it's like the definition of I don't need to try to do anything on purpose, it just happens sort of character.
So, next question.
Yeah.
Like, personally, I have a lot of AAA games that I like.
Yeah.
But it's because they're polished, well-developed games that decided to do a thing and then did the thing.
What is a game that either came out recently or is coming out in the future that you would be interested in playing?
The new Persona game.
New Persona?
But personally, I've been following Persona since Persona 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because I happened to stumble upon it in a store at the same time that I stumbled upon Rhapsody. They were both on PlayStation 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both PlayStation 1 games, and me and my brother picked them up at the same time. And I really liked Rhapsody a lot. For anybody that doesn't know, it's a game where you play as a girl that plays a cornet, and she can control puppets in these isometric tactics battles. You control these puppets, and her only goal, pretty much the whole game, is to meet the prince, romance the prince, save the prince from the bad guy.
I'm pretty sure that there's a move where you summon a giant stack of pancakes that falls on an enemy.
Nice.
Yeah, there is.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Buttery defeat.
Yeah.
Like, all of the main character's special moves are foods.
Nice.
That drop on the screen.
But yeah, for me, there's this game coming out called The Stranger of Sword City.
Yeah.
It's like a first-person dungeon crawler with, like, really good art. Like, the art is super good.
Like how good are we talking?
Like, really good.
Like, super really good?
Yeah, like, super, super really good. Like, so they
like, it's really, like, nice paintsy. Like, it's a Japanese game, so it's kind of anime-y.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
It's a turn-based dungeon crawler, not completely unlike those that Paper Sorcerer was influenced by.
Yeah. There's this company called, like, Experience that's just been pumping out first-person dungeon crawlers for, like, decades.
Yeah, like, what's funny is that after the Wizardry series died in the US, Japan started making Wizardry games and just kept doing it. Yeah. And they still do.
Yeah, to this day.
If there's a need, someone will fill a void.
Funny enough, on my PlayStation 3, the game I've played the most is, like, the downloadable Wizardry game on it. Like, I've played that more than, like, any of my other PS3 games.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, the Persona series, like, it really hit its stride with 3. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, you can tell by its popularity, but with 2, they had a lot of these, like, core concepts that made it interesting. And, of course, it is very much a Mega 10 game with, like, its tone, and nobody has good relationships with their parents. And
it's got crazy dancing.
Oh, yeah, dancing. and demons. And demon negotiation is very much a thing.
See, people thought that the Persona dancing game came out of nowhere. But if you play Persona 2, you'll see that Mark dances crazy.
No. Persona 2 wasn't Mark.
It wasn't?
That was Persona 1.
Oh, see, I played Persona 1. And, like, in that game, like, the translation was awful. And, like, when you tried...
It was a very localized game.
Right.
Like, they actually changed a character to be black.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they changed everyone's names to English names.
But the one guy...
And they pretty much tried to write out as much of the Japanese as possible.
In the PlayStation 1 era, though, that was still really common.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't blame them. Like, I very much understand it. But the recent re-release where they just basically, like, undid all that weird localization stuff, like, I'm pretty happy that they did that.
Okay.
But yeah, one of the characters, like, he communicates with demons by dancing. So you pick dance and be like, he dances sexy, or he dances crazy. So then I was like, yeah, the Persona dancing game makes sense. There's a precedent for that.
Like, it's not completely... And also in Persona 2, there's literally a character who is in, like, a Visual K band, and is hiding from his dad, that every time he goes to school, he, like, dyes his hair and changes his uniform. Because his dad is a super, like, uptight, super Japanese, runs a sushi restaurant guy.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so one last question, and then I'm going to wrap this up. What's a game that you've played recently that you want other people to play? Like let's keep it on free games.
Free games?
Here, let me
bring
pull up the
list.
library.
Yeah. Because like we played a bunch of cool free games recently.
We actually have a collection on Itch.io that's called Games I Recommend on the Runaway account. So you can check out we've been trying free games on Itch.io lately.
Oh yeah, the one with the toasters.
Oh yeah, Terratosa is interesting. Yeah, here it is. It's called Cool Games Recommended. I currently have 5 games in it.
Yeah.
And I
see one of them is Dragon Sweeper.
Yeah. Dragon Sweeper is pretty sweet. Surf Shogun is cool. It's kind of, there's not a ton there, but it's fun.
What's
for what
there
it
is interesting.
Yeah, what's there is I'd like to see it fleshed out more. But what's there is really interesting.
All of these games, whenever I add something to this list, I'm gonna put a couple notes in the description. Sort the Court that we talked about is interesting.
Roguelite is probably the most fleshed out of all these. It's got a bunch of we haven't finished it or anything. It's got a bunch of levels.
We have gotten to level 2.
I don't know if you've tried it or not.
It's this interesting roguelike.
It shows up all the time. I think the only reason I don't remember if it was free or not.
It's free.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least you can try it.
Yeah, I for my show, most of the games I've been playing recently have been for my show.
Yeah.
And I specifically try to avoid games that are demos of games.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the whole thing.
I'm pretty sure, I can click on it.
Well, I'll check it out.
Also, Guppers is cool, too.
But, yeah, there have been
Guppers is this odd, god game. Yeah. It's a very small, odd god game. But it's very interesting and cute.
I do like small, odd games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, actually, yeah, we should install it while we finish talking.
So, for everybody listening at home, if you're interested in trying some funky, cool games that are highly recommended by the two-person team of Ultra Runaway Games, definitely go on to Itch.io and check out their playlist.
I like this collections feature that Itch.io has. It's an easy way to kind of categorize games that you've tried on Itch.io.
All right, so that's going to do it for this episode of The Conversation. Thank you for listening, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to The Conversation. If you like this, please consider subscribing to Games. Also, if there's a person or topic you'd like to see covered in The Conversation, shoot me a tweet or leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.